In radio, we do promotions. We were looking to do a new promotion, and that is something that I've always been into, which is fishing. And we were able to start this event. We started in 2005. I think we expected we have about 30 boats, but with promoting the event on the radio, we ended up with 70.
And because of these huge payouts and 108 boats, you utilize polygraph testing, am I correct?
Yeah, we do. I think it's a really big part of, I think a lot of fishing tournaments do it. There was the story where the guy put the weights in the fish. That was like national news. It was a walleye tournament, and they put like weights, I have a lot of experience with polygraphs through you, and I'm very confident that it would be very difficult to like cheat and then beat a polygraph. I don't know that it could be done.
Welcome to Inside the Polygraph. I'm your host, David Goldberg, expert polygraph examiner. Join me as I and my guests break down the facts, fictions of polygraph testing, law enforcement, and so much more. Real cases, real conversations. The truth is always revealed inside the polygraph. Welcome to Inside the Polygraph with David Goldberg. I'm your host, David Goldberg. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, a local guest, who is the owner and general manager of Sinclair Communications. At age 21, this guest, Bob Sinclair, became the owner and general manager of 5 radio stations. These radio stations include 96X WROX FM, US 106.1 Real Country, 93.7 Bob FM, WTAR Talk Radio, 96.5 FM and 850 AM, and AM 790 WNIS News Talk. Also, he founded, along with his staff in 2005, the largest East Coast tuna fishing tournaments, and is a major sponsor for that tournament, along with so many boats. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome a personal friend and a great person. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you. One correction, I became general manager about 6 or 7 years ago. So of the stations, but I did start that tournament in 2005 when I was 21. So
very good. Before we get started, I do want to dive into something that is on a personal level and honor someone that was obviously really dear to you and the community and Sinclair Communication. And I want to give you a sincere empathy and my sincerity to your great loss of your father.
Yeah, thank you. He, founded our company with his father and his brother and other people. And, but yeah, he was a, titan in the radio industry, at least in terms of privately owned radio stations. So we've got stations here in Norfolk, and then also we have in Austin, Texas. So
right. And you're following in your great dad's footsteps, obviously.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to honor him on the show, okay? Because I met him.
That. Thank you.
And he was a great man, and he did a lot to the community, and obviously he's your father. Did you want to, growing up, did you want to get into the radio business, or did you have some other big dreams?
We started 96X when I was 10, and before that, we just had an AM station, and at the time, as a kid, AM radio is not very exciting because it's news talk and, whatever. But then when we started 96X, it's all about music and stuff. So yeah, starting at that time, I knew, it's show business, if you will, and radio's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a fun place to work. It's a fun industry to be in. So yes, absolutely.
What is your favorite genre, and what was your dad's favorite genre?
Of music?
Yes.
Everybody always says everything, and being in the business, I'm exposed to a lot of different kinds of music,
sure.
Probably more than most. So, I really do like pretty much everything.
Okay.
I like 96X of our stations, the alternative rock. That's what I grew up on.
Okay.
And I I like that the best.
And what was your dad's?
I mean, he was a Bob FM listener.
Was he?
He also had fairly diverse musical taste, I would say, which that's what Bob FM is. We play anything. So
Everything.
Yeah.
In 2001, satellite radio came in to the mainstream. It was launched, one of the major satellites. And then in 2002, another satellite company, radio station, was launched. How do you and your radio stations keep up with the mainstream in broadcast radio over satellite?
I mean, satellite never had a huge effect on radio. I mean, it did. There are obviously some subscribers to that. Honestly, we're on a podcast, which is kind of ironic. Podcasts, I think, are, streaming podcasts. It's all competition, but media attention is fragmented and has been for a long time. And radio still holds a place in the media landscape, and we're still doing great.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. I mean,
it radio works for advertisers. Radio is very effective, and that is, it's amazing. You hear the stories that our clients will tell us, like, oh yeah, people stop me on the street saying they heard my voice because they do their own commercials, stuff like that.
Correct.
And it really does work very well. So it may, people ask that question. Maybe that's because you listen to satellite radio, which is fine.
No, I listen to your radios as well.
Thank you.
No, I do.
No, but that's that. But my point is that there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't even listen to the radio. And I'm like, okay, fine. But a lot of people do. So
you have
that's how you
have the satellite, and then you have the broadcast listeners.
Yeah, exactly.
So gotcha. Got you. Let's talk about, in 2005, you founded the largest tuna tournament on the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't start that way, but we, in radio we do promotions. We do those promotions to sell sponsors into. That would include concerts, and there's all kinds of different things that we do. But we were looking to do a new promotion, and that is something that I've always been into, which is fishing. And so combining my fishing passion with our business, we were able to start this event. We started in 2005. I think we expected we'd have about 30 boats, but with promoting the event on the radio, we ended up with 70, which was a lot more than we were. If anybody remembers, anybody was there in 2000. I mean, we didn't have enough food. I mean, our tents were tiny. I mean, we were way overwhelmed with what we were actually ready for in 2005. And, it's a learning experience to make it better and better every year. And we're trying to do that.
And now it is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, last year we had 108 boats. I mean, I think we're on, it's actually next week. Today we're at 82 early entries, which is the most we've ever had. So I think I think we're going to get at least 108 again. So.
Right. And the reason why I said it's the largest is because other tournaments that are out there, such as the Big Rock that's this week, you got the White Marlin in Ocean City.
Yeah, those
are not tuna.
They're right. They're marlin tournaments.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why you are the largest.
Yeah, we're the largest by participation, for sure. And one of the largest tournaments on the East Coast by participation. The Big Rock is bigger. Obviously, the White Marlin Open's bigger. But I don't know that many other ones that have that many boats, 108. I'm sure there's some in Florida, but at least for the Mid-Atlantic, we're the biggest by participation, and definitely as a tuna tournament, I think that we are the biggest.
You are. I did research, so okay. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
I just wanted you. If you didn't know that, I wanted you to know I did research, and I wanted to tell some facts for the many listeners. In 2003, Bob's Tuna Tournament had 89 registered boats with a total payout of $190,500, and first place received $88,355. Last year's was a total of 108, as you said, registered boats for the tournament, with a total payout of $242,290, with the winner receiving $111,385. I want you to tell the listeners right now who are running right now to the nearest boat dealer, who are getting ready to buy a boat and saying, oh my God, I did not know fishing tournaments pay that much. Tell us what's the smallest check someone can receive in a tournament of yours, And obviously, I just read out the
I mean,
largest.
it's all depend on which entry levels you go into, so it can really vary. But third place in the smallest boat, Calcutta, you might get, I don't know, $1,500 or $2,000. I don't really remember, but I mean, the most we've ever total paid out, I think, was 2022. Maybe we had one. We paid out 297, so we were really close to 300. But we're this year, like I said, if we get the 120 boats or whatever, we could break that 300,000 mark for sure.
And because of these huge payouts and 108 boats, you utilize polygraph testing. Am I correct?
Yeah, we do. I think it's a really big part of, I think a lot of fishing tournaments do it. I mean, there was the story where the guy put the weights in the fish. That was like national news. It was a walleye tournament, and they put
Correct.
like weights, and I'm not sure if they use polygraphs in those tournaments or not, but I have a lot of experience with polygraphs through you, and I'm very confident that it would be very difficult to like cheat and then beat a polygraph. I don't know that it could be done.
It can't, and you're correct. So, and here's the other thing, and you mentioned that the White Marlin up in Maryland had one of the largest issues when it came to polygraph testing several years ago, where it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, the Maryland Supreme Court. In reference to the issue and
what fish was that, or what?
It was the White Marlin.
No, but do you remember what the scenario was?
The issue was, I believe they said that one boat said that they had cheated.
It was like a lines in thing.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
And so the polygraph examiner, which I knew who he was an excellent polygraph examiner. He tested the boat, or either the captain or the angler, and they passed. And of course, the other boats were saying, that's BS or whatever. And then it went all the way up to, I think, the Maryland Supreme Court, and they upheld it. And I believe that they either, and don't get me straight on this because I didn't read it all the way, but either they paid out or they lost the money. I'm not sure if they.
I don't remember.
But I know that the polygraph was
it,
upheld in reference to the issue. But so yeah, on these big payouts, polygraphs are used because fishermen will tell white lies when it comes.
Yeah, and I believe that 99.9% of the time that's not the case. I think people are honest in most cases, but it's just a way to keep everybody honest, and we've we take the rules really seriously. I mean, I say that always in the captain's meeting, and everybody knows that. I mean, we've disqualified people over the years there's something called a lay day form, which is like tells people that tells the tournament that you're not going fishing that day. And there's always one or two people that'll, oh God, I forgot to do my lay day form. And it's like, well, sorry, it's in the rules. It's very clear.
Can you tell the listeners some of the rules in reference to what I test for? Can you tell some of the listeners what you're looking for so that the anglers and the captains don't cheat?
You have to make sure that they're paying attention to the fishing laws, meaning like, size limits and bag limit and stuff like that. There's something called culling where you can, let's say you catch a fish that, you look at it and it weighs 30 pounds and your limit is you're allowed to keep 3 of them, or these are just examples. And then you've got 3 in the boat, and then you catch one that looks like it weighs 50 pounds. So you could take one of your 30s, throw it overboard, right. But that would be something that is very specifically in the rule. That's illegal also, but it's something in the rules that's not, that we test for. Lines in and lines out to make sure people aren't fishing before the time, which is this year will be 7 to 3. And then I don't have the rules in front of me.
No, but I know. Lines in, lines out.
Lines in, lines out, that's a big one.
Passing the rod.
Yeah, passing the rod. That is something that, in our tournament, we follow most of the rules set forth by the IGFA, which is the International Game Fish Association. They are the record keepers, and they have made a set of rules for world record fishing, and a lot of fishing tournaments in a way to not have to define every single rule. You just say we follow IGFA rules with these list of exceptions. And one of the IGFA rules is that you're not allowed to pass the rod. If you pick up the rod and start fighting a fish, it is in the rules that you are supposed to continue doing it yourself without the aid of anybody else. That's an IGFA rule, and that is something that we follow because I think that's makes it more sportsmanlike. The IGFA rules are designed to give the fish as a fighting chance as much as can be possible, right. And that's the point of the IGFA rules, and we follow those.
Have you been accused of one of the following in your life, such as infidelity, custody matters, CPS investigations, or serious criminal matters that you're currently being investigated for? At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we have been helping thousands of individuals for over 24 years, no matter who you are or what you have been accused of, with the highest accuracy, integrity, and overall compassion to everyone's needs. We are not your typical polygraph or lie detection service. At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we are certified experts recognized in courts throughout the country, and we stand by our promise to give you full closure and all your needed answers. Call at 757-495-1301 and visit our website at www.executiveprotectiongrp.com to get started. And also the captain, he can't go out
going outside the lines. That's right. A big one is we have a limit of 85 nautical miles from the Cape Henry buoy. And it depends on the year, but some years the fish are really close to that line.
Right.
So, you've got to set your GPS to put a mark on the buoy to make sure you don't go outside that, that distance.
Right.
So,
and as you know, I've caught a few,
Yeah, there's been, if my memory serves me correctly, there's been one person that failed.
Two.
Well, no, there was one that passed, but in passing disqualified himself.
Correct.
Or we disqualified.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I remember that scenario.
Right, and then the other one was what you were saying.
Yeah, but that just shows you we've done this for 20 years, and those are really the only. I'm knock on wood. Those are really the only two issues that we've had involving the polygraph.
Right. And then the one issue, I think it was rectified though, is I think it was the captain with his license or whatever. And I think that was an issue too, but he was rectified it. I think he had it, but I forgot what it was.
I don't know. We don't check licenses. I allow
I think it was the
Marine police, because the Marine police always come to the dock and they check everybody.
Right. That's what it was.
Okay.
I think, but not for the tournament itself, but I think that was one of the issues.
Right. I leave law enforcement to the law enforcement personnel.
Right. How often do you go out and fish?
Not as often as I'd like, but nobody does. I get out. I probably go 10 or 11 times a year, maybe something like that. I get my own boat. I have a small boat. I take it out occasionally, and then I go with other people. So.
And you have a lot of sponsors for your tournament.
We do,
correct?
Yes.
And how do you get these sponsors?
Sponsors see a value. We have a lot of sponsors that are in the marine industry, which that makes sense because these are people that are into fishing and boats and everything else. But there's a lot of people that are not, and our sponsors have recognized that, the people that are participating in tournaments are, usually have spare change to spend on whatever. They're homeowners more likely. A lot of them own boats, obviously, and it's a really good way to reach qualified potential clients for the sponsors.
What would you tell the listeners in reference to them wanting to get into fishing tournaments, the pros and the cons?
Meaning to participate in them? You got to learn how to fish, obviously, or you need to go on a charter boat with somebody else who does. So, it's fun. They're great parties, live music, everything else, and it's really good camaraderie. We get people every year that I always say we have in the Tuna tournament. Our tournament's a little unique. You go to the White Marlin Open. You've got these are professionals that are
correct.
They travel all around the world and do this all year long, and we've got a lot of those guys.
You got Michael Jordan in it.
Well, yeah, Michael Jordan. He's the Big Rock too, I'm sure. But we have those guys. We have professional teams and professional anglers that are boat captains and mates and everything else. But we've also got guys in small boats and. We had a 20-foot Grady White fish it one year, and you're fishing against a 60-some-foot Viking or sport or custom sport fish or whatever. So it's a very wide field in the Tuna tournament.
In your tournament,
and I'd say pretty unique. White Marlin Open has some of that too, but we definitely have. You have the weekend warriors versus
the professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. In reference to the radio business, where do you see it going in the future?
I mean,
where you are now.
That's a tough question. I mean, I think as long as it keeps delivering results for our advertisers, I think we continue doing what we're doing. We are local more than a lot of other stations. Our DJs are in our building. Our music is picked by real people, not by algorithms. I think there's some maybe affinity to that. We do have real people that work for us, and a lot of other stations that are nationally owned, they'll have person in a room saying good morning St. Louis, here's so and so on the radio, and then they record the next break and it's good morning Tallahassee or whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Syndication, right?
Yeah, and we do have some syndicated shows, of course, but a lot of our DJs are local, and I think that is something that sets us apart. So we want to continue doing that.
And in reference to getting more content in reference to celebrities or musicians, how do you reach out to them? Or do they reach out to you?
That's all
do they reach out to
record labels mainly.
So the record labels reach out to you to put their music on?
Yeah. And we, and you obviously look at the charts or, what other stations are playing and, various formats and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, in terms of content, I think keeping content as local as possible is the thing that we can do to succeed and to set ourselves apart from, definitely apart from streaming and everything else, but apart from even other radio stations.
Do you ever find any local talent that you put on? Have you ever done that? You
mean musicians?
Yeah, musicians. Have you ever done that? Have you ever found anyone talented?
Well, we have some specialty shows and stuff where we'll play some local musicians. Radio is broadcasting, it's mass appeal. So if a local musician happened to become the next, whatever, then we would definitely play them.
That's cool.
So, but we have some specialty shows like the punk show, like Six String Saturday, that we do feature, kind of more local and more off the wall
artists.
Yeah, less inside the mainstream is what I mean.
Nice. That's neat.
So
that is really, really interesting. I was just wondering if anyone has been discovered by your radio stations and has moved on to bigger and better things.
I mean, I know there's a band called the X Ambassadors that I think we had some influence in getting them
really
going.
What kind of music did they play?
It's an alternative band.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm going to leave the last closing part to you in reference to anything you want to say in reference to your tournament, in reference to your radio stations, or anything poignant that you would like to
I'm here mainly with my interaction with polygraphs comes from the fishing tournament world, and I think it's a really it's kind of a unique thing. Like a lot of people you tell, like, oh yeah, we polygraph. People that aren't in the fishing tournament world hear that. They're like, you polygraph money winners? That's crazy. But it isn't, obviously. And it, it just keeps everybody on a even playing field. And it's a really helpful thing for our industry. I mean, I know other tournaments do it. So.
And that's what I was going to say, exactly what you say. When I tell people that I polygraph test for fishing tournaments, they look at me like I've got three heads on.
Yeah, right.
Like, exactly. Are you serious? And I'll say, yeah. And I'll say it's one, because of big money. Two, not that every angler or every captain lies, except for you want to keep them on the up and up. You know,
trust but verify.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about.
Right.
You know, there are some tournaments that have observers on their boats.
Mhm.
There are some. Your tournament's so large that you wouldn't be able to have that.
No, that would be really difficult.
Right, you'd have to have 108 plus
And
volunteers.
we're not a release tournament either.
Right.
Like for those, that's more common in release tournaments, and a lot of those too use video. Like they'll say, you know, hold up a blue card
and
take a picture of
Right.
the fish with the blue card in the photo. That happens in a lot of tournaments. But ours is a tournament where you bring the fish in to weigh them. So
Correct.
you obviously you need to have the heaviest fish to win. But
Right. Tell the listeners what other fish other than tuna are in your categories.
we have mahi, dolphin, and wahoo also.
Right, and they're also in the categories to win money as well.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's it. Tunas, and then there's there's really 2 or 3 that are regularly caught in this area. Definitely yellowfin, big eye, sometimes bluefin. It's been a long time since we've weighed a bluefin in the tuna tournament, but we used to a lot. And it's mainly yellowfin, big eye, and then dolphin, and then some wahoo. We pay money for wahoo.
In your tournament, do you have female anglers?
The tournament is a boat tournament, so it's not a angler tournament. We have a lady angler prize, but it's not like a the prize money is awarded to the team. In other words, to
Right.
the boat. So
Right. So if
it's more just it's a trophy prize.
right.
For
So if the female's in the chair and she catches it, the whole boat
They will
gets
do a
it.
trophy, but that would just count towards the team's score.
Gotcha.
So,
And the same with if a miner's on the boat.
yep,
The same
junior
thing?
angler, same thing.
Neat.
So, with junior angler, tuna fight pretty hard. So,
What are they usually? What's the weight usually from low to large?
well, I mean, most yellowfin that we weigh are usually they start at around 30 pounds, 30 to
Okay.
50 or 60. You get a really big one, they could be 70, 80, 90. We've had some that have been over 100. And then big eye, the ones that people bring in usually are on the smaller end would be around 100. And then the heaviest one we ever weighed was 258. So that was a really big
It
one.
takes how long to reel something like that
I
in?
mean, hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you got to be able to pass a polygraph, say that
That's
you did
exactly
that
right.
without help and everything
we'll,
else.
We'll talk about that. They go out, they start out, they leave the docks around what time?
I mean, lines in is at 7 for us, and
So they leave out
they're
5?
Oh no, I mean 3, 4,
3 in the morning?
depending on how fast your boat is, obviously.
Right. So they
If you're going a long way, I mean you got to leave early. So yeah, 3,
in the morning,
3, 4
and
is
then
very.
they come in around 6, right?
The weigh station opens at 4:30, I think. Again, I don't have the rules in front of me, but most people show up. I mean, it takes about 3 hours to run from where everybody is fishing.
Right.
So yeah, usually everybody shows up at the exact same time, which is about between 5:30 and 6:30.
And then they come to me, and then I polygraph.
Yeah, and
them.
then and I have you start in the morning for people that are already winning from the first 2 days. That way we can kind of get that done, so we're not scrambling to do this all. Because then once we do the awards and the party and stuff happens, we have the scales open till I think 7:30 or 7 or 7:30, something like that, and then we are doing the payouts and the awards banquet and everything on that night. So we try to get as much of it done ahead of time. And then, so then we've got people that are, let's say it's the last day, somebody comes in, they weigh some huge fish. I'm going to say, all right, I need one of you guys to go right now. I need the captain, the mate, the angler, whatever, to go and take
just like I tell everyone on my podcast when I explain things, that just like these anglers and the captains, they don't fail because of nervousness and anxiety. Because everyone that they come to me, they always are. But what's funny is most of the anglers or the captains that come to me that take the polygraph test, the number one reason why they're nervous about getting bumped by another boat when they come to me, because that has happened. Because that's happened.
Yeah.
You have
people
them
will take
tested.
it and then say, sorry, that was just a...
Right. So they get tested.
That's our way of getting it done, to get out ahead of being super busy late in the afternoon like that.
Right, because you'll have them tested, and then they're like, whew, I'm going to win, and then they get bumped, and then they don't
it's a nerve-wracking situation for sure. I mean,
Right.
especially if something
Right.
you've never done. I know there's a lot of people, you see them and you see them every year and you're like, hey, good to see you again.
Right.
These are the guys
Right.
that do pretty well. But,
Right.
there's plenty of people who haven't done it before. And,
Right.
you know,
And of course, your annual trick that you play on just one of those anglers
I
is
mean, if
probably what you get the most kick out of.
yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
That's just, I do that
So
with very
that's-
good friends.
Right. And that's the
And it's
most
all
kick
done
after.
by the board.
Right.
Or,
By the
league.
board and way after.
Yeah,
But you do play a
there's been
big
a couple.
trick on them, which is
There's been a couple.
And they really, really, really freak out.
No.
So that's the biggest joke that you have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want to thank Bob for coming on to Inside the Polygraph with David Goldberg. He is a great friend of mine. He is an awesome entrepreneur. He is also an excellent host for the Tuna tournament. And if you're interested in becoming a angler or you're a captain of a boat, then look online too.
VBTuna.com.
And you will then be able to register for next year's, because I'm sure it's not easy to get on this year's tuna tournament, but you'll be sure to be able to register for next year's, and you won't be sorry that you joined. Listen to his radio stations that I mentioned, and if you like more of this content, like, subscribe, and comment. And again, thank you for listening, and have a great day. Thanks so much for listening. If you truly liked what you heard today, please be sure to rate the show, share with others, and subscribe for more episodes.